Ever had that one coworker who just refuses to listen? The kind who laughs off your warnings, acts like they're invincible, until the day you teach them a lesson they'll never forget? Well, that was me. I worked in security. And when our head electrician ignored every rule in the book, I turned his precious workstation into something truly horrifying. Let's just say, Barbie herself would have been proud. If you've ever wanted to serve justice to someone who thought they could walk all over you, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and get comfortable. Because this is the story of how I turned a careless coworker's arrogance into Barbie Hell. The Tech Fortress. I worked at a small but high-tech company that specialized in building automation, the kind of systems that made entire facilities come alive. Heating, lighting, HVAC, and, my domain, security. Access control systems, CCTV networks, digital firewalls. If it had to do with keeping people and data safe, it was on my plate. We were good, like really good. We had a UL-certified fabrication shop, which basically meant we built control panels up to national safety standards. Our workspace gleamed with organized cables, blinking servers, and polished metal racks that hummed like a heartbeat of technology. I used to give tours to clients. I'd walk them through the spotless aisles, explaining how their building systems would sync like a symphony. But there was one thing that always ruined the picture. A computer, left wide open, logged in, exposed. And every time it belonged to him. Our head electrician, Gary, the untouchable. Gary was one of those guys who had been there since the dawn of time. The kind who carried himself like the shop would collapse without him. He was good at what he did, sure. But he was careless, cocky, and allergic to rules, especially mine. While I locked everything down like Fort Knox, Gary treated security like a joke. His computer? Always open, always logged in. Sometimes I'd walk by and there was the glowing monitor, the cursor blinking over open blueprints, invoices, even vendor credentials. And here's the kicker. All of that was stored on the same server that housed my client's access data. Card credentials, door codes, camera feeds, the kind of stuff you don't just leave lying around. I'd mention it casually at first. Hey, Gary, you might want to lock that up next time. Security, remember? He'd just smirk. Relax, man. It's not like anyone's gonna break in and order some light switches. Every time he said that, my stomach knotted, because I knew how dangerous complacency could be. I gave him verbal warnings. I even went to the supervisor once. But Gary, he just laughed it off. To him, I was a paranoid security guy, the buzzkill in a shop full of real workers. It went on for months. Every time I gave a tour, I'd catch that damn screen glowing in the corner, the symbol of everything that made my job harder, and everything Gary refused to respect. I remember one day specifically. I was walking a client to a facility, a big contract, worth hundreds of thousands. I was proud. I'd spent weeks prepping for this. And then I saw it. Gary's workstation. Logged in. Files open. His email visible for the world to see. My client paused. Is that an unsecured admin terminal? I wanted to sink into the floor. My voice tightened as I said, it shouldn't be. I'll take care of it. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept replaying it in my head, how his negligence made me look incompetent. And that's when I decided, if he wouldn't learn through warnings, he'd learn through experience. Welcome to Barbie Hell. Gary's computer was a digital disaster zone. Shortcuts everywhere, dozens of bookmarks to electrical suppliers, tool distributors, and project databases. I knew exactly how to make it personal. So one afternoon, when Gary had gone out to lunch, I sat down at his workstation. No passwords, no barriers. Of course, I opened his browser and started small. G circuit breakers, redirected to a Barbie collector's forum. Carol cable supplier, changed to a Barbie doll auction site. Every single one of his 190 bookmarks, twisted, pink, plastic chaos. I didn't stop there. I changed his browser color scheme to hot pink. Font, Comic Sans in Barbie Dreamhouse magenta. Even his email client, pink borders, glitter backgrounds. When I stepped back and looked at it, it was magnificent. It screamed, you should have listened. And the best part? I saved all his original settings to a USB stick. just in case I ever needed to undo the damage. Barbie awakens. Days went by. Gary didn't notice. He was so oblivious, he kept working like nothing had changed, browsing through pink menus and sparkly tabs, totally unaware that half his suppliers now redirected to Barbie fandom pages. Every time he typed something, I had to bite back laughter. My buddy Mike, the only co-worker who knew, would catch my eye across the room and smirk. But then came the day. It was quiet in the shop, machines humming, faint smell of solder in the air. Everyone focused. Then, from across the room, a scream. Why is everything on my computer about Barbie? Head shot up. People froze. Gary stood there, face red, hands shaking at the mouse. "My computer is in Barbie Hell," he yelled. I swear, even the air went still. Mike turned toward me, biting his lip to keep from laughing. He whispered, "You're a bastard." I just smiled, reached into my pocket, and tossed him the USB stick. "Go be the hero," I said. "Remind him things can get a lot worse than Barbie." Mike walked over, still trying not to lose it, and said, "Gary, man, relax. Maybe your computer's just infected with something." Gary groaned. "A virus? It's pink. It's got bows and sparkles. My supplier logins don't work. Who does this?" Mike plugged in a USB and began restoring the files. Within minutes, the pink melted away, the bookmarks returned to normal, and the world was right again. Gary leaned back, sweating, relief washing over him. "God, I thought I lost everything." Mike looked him dead in the eye and said, "Next time, maybe don't leave your computer unlocked. There are worse things out there than Barbie." I'll never forget Gary's face. Pale, humbled, almost embarrassed. For once, he didn't have a comeback. Respect earned. After that day, something shifted. Gary started locking his workstation every time he left his desk. He even came by my cubicle once and mumbled, "Hey, I set up autolock, just in case." No sarcasm, no eye roll, just quiet acknowledgement. The rest of the crew caught on too. Suddenly, everyone was a little more careful, shutting down systems, double-checking logins, respecting the boundaries they used to ignore. It wasn't fear, it was respect. And honestly, that was all I ever wanted. Because sometimes, people don't take you seriously until you make them feel the consequences. Not in anger, not in cruelty, but in a way they'll never forget. And I promise you, Gary never forgot Barbie Hell. The beauty of it all was that it wasn't destructive. No data lost. No harm done. Just poetic justice. A harmless taste of chaos to mirror the carelessness he'd shown me for months. When he screamed that day, I didn't feel guilty. I felt satisfied. Not because I'd humiliated him, but because I'd finally restored balance. For once, the careless one learned the cost of ignoring the careful. Sometimes, revenge doesn't have to be cruel to be effective. Sometimes, the sweetest justice is the one that teaches a lesson with a little humor and a lot of pink.